Good morning, Paul. It's the 20th of March, a Monday. Here's the heads up brief for today. For the Southeast Asia production, we covered 21 issues. In North Asia, we covered 5. And for the Australasia and Pacific Islands, we also covered 5. In South Asia, we covered 14 issues, plus the major issues in the Europe, Middle East, and Africa regions.
Okay, thanks a lot. Go ahead.
Paul, in Jakarta, Islamist groups are going to protest today. This is against the arrival of Israel's football team. Indonesia is hosting the Under-20 Football World Cup from the 20th of May to the 11th of June.
Okay, thank you. The most primitive thing to demonstrate about and some primitive behaviours occurring in Israel and Palestine on the border there. So it is what it is. Thanks for the heads up.
All right. Also in Indonesia,
Oh,
Paul.
sorry, mate. Whereabouts are they demonstrating?
It'll be at the horse statue Patang Kuda in Jakarta.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Also in Indonesia, 5 Central Java police officers were dishonorably discharged from duty for extortion. Now, this comes after 3 Army personnel, 1 Navy personnel, and 7 police officers were arrested in clubs in Jakarta over the weekend for drug use.
Okay, thanks.
In Timor-Leste, tensions between President Jose Ramos Horta and Prime Minister Toad Matternack are rising over the May 21st parliamentary election date. The Prime Minister is saying that it is to benefit the opposition National Congress for Timorese Reconstruction, who backed President Ramos Horta last year in the elections. The Prime Minister is in a coalition with Freitlin, which is the CNRT's long-standing rival.
Look, it's just interesting that the Prime Minister's making such a big deal about the actual date of the election. I really don't get what his issue is, and I can't really see why there's such an advantage to be had. But his reaction to the selection date, which pretty much he sat at the President's house and had his weekly meeting and then said he's no longer going to do weekly meetings with the President. Can't think anything other than Tor Matternack's undermining his own credibility by making such a mountain out of a molehill. I don't see this as an issue affecting the security paradigm. I do just see it as something that's going to affect particularly Tor Matternack politically. Horta just sat back and was fairly tight-lipped until recently, and then he said, look, enough's enough. He actually made statements like, I'm not going to just tolerate this behaviour. But it's sad that a president is having to scold a prime minister like he's a naughty 7-year-old. So it is what it is. Thank you.
Right. Moving over to South Asia, Paul. In Pakistan, Imran Khan will hold another rally in Lahore in a couple of days. The police claim to have seized weapons at his residence yesterday. The government is trying to adopt a narrative and of conflating terrorism with Imran Khan's political unrest, and they're trying to see whether they can ban his party under terror laws.
Well, they're just doing what they always do when there's a credible personality that rises in Pakistan that has popularity. They have to concoct charges, and if ultimately they can't manipulate the legal system, then they just murder them by blowing them up. So it's difficult to see any future for Pakistan other than ongoing horrendous violence, and obviously that's tribal based, using the front as a religion, but really it's just evil politicians and people after power. So at some point it's going to re-implode, and that saga and cycle in Pakistan's unlikely to finish. When they eventually find a way to murder him, what will that be, the 3rd executed leader of Pakistan?
Yes, if I remember correctly, it was Benazir Bhutto in 2008.
Yep.
Someone else before that. Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, it is what it is, and the Pakistan military have a lot of problems in not only separating from government, but also acting with appropriate laws and humanity. So it's sad to see the way the powers in Pakistan are acting at the moment, but highly predictable. Thank you.
Right. In India, the state of Punjab is on high alert as police try to arrest a pro-Khalistani leader who advocates for the separation of Punjab from India. Communications services have been disrupted across the state. The situation is tense and there are concerns of unrest.
Okay, thanks a lot. We're gonna have to monitor that really closely and just do our footprint analysis on our clients, particularly some of the UN agencies. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be also sending an advisory out on this.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Also in India, thousands of right-wing Hindus protested in Mumbai, Maharashtra yesterday. Now, this comes amidst the rising tensions between the majority Hindus and other minorities in the country.
Okay, fantastic. Keep me posted on that one.
Yeah.
Just flicking back to Timor for a sec before you move on to EMEA. I just want to do a quick 3-pager up on the potential election exposure and how that will affect the security paradigm, which I do expect to be, I think it's now 5 democratic elections and they've all been pretty calm. Certainly something that's going to affect business operations in any substantive way, other than people need to keep a bit of a low profile on the day and avoid any demonstrations. The issue between Ruak and Horta does have the potential to create some conflict. So if you could just knock out a 3-pager, maybe by the COB tomorrow or Wednesday, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure, Paul. We'll do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Lastly, Paul, for the Europe, Middle East, and Africa regions. So Russian President Vladimir Putin yesterday visited Mariupol in Ukraine in a surprise visit. Now, this comes after the International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant for him. And Chinese President Xi Jinping is set to visit Russia today to meet Mr. Putin.
Yeah, okay. And when we say international, which one was it? The Crime Commission?
The ICC, the International Criminal Court.
Criminal Court, sorry, and then the IMF, International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank, and the United Nations. They all just missing the precursor, which should be a capital WEST/hyphen, okay, because it's all one-sided legality and one-sided views on human rights, and you abuse it, you're a criminal, we abuse it, and it's for the greater good. So I expect that this is probably going to be the first step in following the splitting of the economic power, where obviously everybody's seeking, and I saw we developed a wonderful report releasing today about how the economies of the world are fundamentally splitting along cash lines, where people are tired of having to pay everything in US dollars and America gets to monitor everything and no one else does, and it's all in the name of good. I think this is also going to go down the path of potentially splitting these criminal courts that have one eye open and one eye closed, depending on who's the offender. So I imagine the political split globally is going to reflect the economic one. Thanks for raising that to my attention. I mean, obviously, Mariupol's a very interesting case. I mean, it was a very prolonged and ultimately a successful Russian victory. So it's very symbolic for the Russians. Ironically, Western media is all pumping out how Russia's a great failure, but they don't seem to be sending out too much imagery of the destroyed assets throughout Ukraine, funnily enough. Thanks. If you can stay on the line after you finish EMEA, that'd be great.
Sure, Paul. We're done. Is there anything else from you?
Not on this.
All right, thanks.